one of the criticisms of the James Bond novels, and also more recently the James Bond films, is that we never see the real James Bond, and the Daniel Craig films are just glorified trailers. That I saw the first 45 after I did the James Bond show. I actually saw that next day. I saw the first 45 minutes of Quantum of Solace, and it's horrendous. I just couldn't take it anymore. But we have this character who's a dichotomy, which is fitting since he's called the anti-hero. And an anti-hero is not the bad guy as hero, like that show Dexter that has a serial killer as hero. That's not an anti-hero. That's not the definition of an anti-hero. An anti-hero is someone who is on the edge. We don't know if he's good or bad. He does some things good, some things bad. That Dexter, as a serial killer, is a bad guy. He's what's known in the TV tropes land as a likable bad guy. But that's not an anti-hero. This Elias Walker is an anti-hero. I think Bert Convy, who says he's now the top killer in U.S. spy history, sort of mocks Elias Walker because Walker's only killed like 800 people versus his 1,400 or something like that. And yet, by the same token, we see a lot of violence in the life of Elias Walker, and we don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. We see some of the things he does. For example, there's one of the scenes in, I think it's in the chapter, The Six Significant Landscapes, where he kills a woman who he thinks is the woman he's been sent after, but at the end, the blackout scene ends with the woman that he's supposed to kill walking in, so he's killed an innocent woman at some point. So we know that at least once in his life, and probably more, he has killed innocent people. And he's walking around and probably collecting a pension even as he's lonely as the love of his life, or the supposed love of his life, this Lal has left him to be lonely for his declining years. We know that this is a guy that, while he's not Big Frank Conchetto, while he's not the Norwegian or the mule, that the circumstances have sometimes left him to do some bad things. We know, for example, he's involved in what I call the Swedish sleep experiment, which is based upon the urban legend of the Russian sleep experiment. Except here I tie it into a real-life assassination of the Swedish Prime Minister, Olof Palme, back in the 1980s, which is another way, is just like with the Norwegian, I constantly am tying in historical events to my timeline, and they usually fit quite well and perfectly. But we know, for example,
because they're so ambiguous,
yeah,
that they fit well together.
Yeah.